I try to have integrity for my work. Like you hear cases of young designers coming up to, maybe they go for an interview and then they take up some like a senior designer's work and start and they present it at an interview, right? So that's what integrity, like stand true for your work, like be truthful to yourself. Where like know the level you are in currently, like what level am I here now? Like for me, when I started in design, I looked at myself, I said, Toyin, you don't know anything. Humble yourself and learn from people that know.
Welcome everybody to the pod. Today we have Toyin, aka TY Daniels. Today's episode, we're going to be talking to TY. Just discussions around being a mother, being in tech, being a wife, also being an awesome product designer at the same time, handling multiple jobs, go all in, all that snake, how to get everything together. So with that being said, I will let TY introduce herself before we
Okay, hi everyone. So like he said, my name is Toyin. I'm a product designer, a mom, and a wife, like he said, right? So I started product design in 2020, but not really deep. But I was very serious about it 2021. So I like to say I have between 2 to 3 years of experience, right? That's a little about me. I stay in Abuja, and right now temperature is really hot, right? So I have multiple phones around me now as I'm talking to you. So yeah, that's a little about me.
That's nice. What's your favorite food?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. That's off. Why spaghetti?
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe it's because a fun fact about me, I love to binge on Korean dramas just to ease up from the design stress. So when I see them thinking yeah.
What's it called? There's something we used to call. My friends used to call it this thing. Yeah. Yes, it's chopstick, but it's noodles. The noodles is something they used to call it.
They all noodles different. So I just like spag. I like using my foot to roll it and I like spicy food. So that and I like it with a lot of beef around. So yeah.
Oh,
that's what I like.
Makes sense. So if I'm coming to your house, I know what to order, Anyways.
What animes too?
Yeah, you watch anime? What was the last one you watched?
Do you know One Piece?
Yes, obviously. Why not?
I had to drop off from One Piece, right? Because the whole family, my brother introduced all of us to One Piece, right? But then I realized that One Piece has been since 1993. Like seriously, when are they going to end it? They don't want it to have a life. So I stopped watching it. I'm like, no. So I just watched.
It's going to end soon, Sha. You just watch different ones.
Finally.
Yeah. Have you seen Kuroko no Basket? It's on Netflix.
I think on Netflix. Yes. Yeah. The basketball anime, right?
Yes.
I like the story. It's about diligence, about persistence, belief, and all of that. I like animes. I watch animes a lot.
See, for people listening, it's like you want them to burn you again, and then let's see why be your mom. But that's just that's just anyway. So that's cool. I've been watching Kuroko no Basket myself. It's interesting. I started again. My friends have been telling me for a while, but I was busy, watching AOT. I started again, Sha, so it's nice. So into this pod like this now, I want to just like start off like, what's your routine like on a normal day?
On a normal day, I wake up in the morning, say my prayers. I have to get my son ready for work. For school, I mean, get his uniform ready, bathe him, feed him, take him to school. On days my husband is not around, and then as soon as I'm done, I get to work. Because at my office, we clock in by 10 a.m.
Okay.
10, we have to be at stand-up 10 a.m. and all of that. So that's my routine. Work from 10 to 5. And then if I have to meet up with a deadline after 5, I still have to rest and then come back to work again. You know how design is now.
How old is your son?
It's 2 years plus. He'll be 3 in May.
Wow, nice. What's his birthday? Me when?
May 12th.
Oh, nice. See, mine is May 6th. So that's like a few days after. That's
Cool.
dope. That's dope. So how do you balance all of that? Like, I mean, how do you work with the skills, qualities that you think are important for like balancing personal and professional activities?
So, like, frankly speaking, it's something I'm still working on
Yeah.
actively, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think having a strong support system really helps. Like, my husband understands how demanding tech is. So we agreed that okay, he'll be dropping my son off. I think I get him ready in the morning, drop him off, and then pick him up because of how demanding tech is. And then my mom is also around to help with my son. So that's one way I try to balance it. Another way is I try to write like a vision list. I call it like it's a vision list or like a to-do list, right? Even my like a tax list or a vision list that I have to follow. So I try to tick it off. I think one of my friends even advised that I get a whiteboard to write down all my tasks so that I can be seeing it as I'm working
Yeah.
to remind myself. I just have this notebook pad here, and then I try to write
Yeah.
what yeah, write my as I'm working, I'm seeing what I have left to do, the things I have to do, the tasks I have to do, the things I have to do for my family and myself and
Yeah.
everything. So that's another way I try to balance everything up. But ultimately, it's not easy because the routine can change. This like during his midterm break, they suddenly said,
Yeah.
"Okay, you're not going to." Definitely, my routine changed that period. He was around
Yeah.
with me for a way to keep him busy, so he doesn't disturb me while my for work and all of that. So yeah.
Okay. So let's go back a bit. So I remember one time we were on a call, you told me like you graduated from like CU. So like transitioning like from graduating, CU with all, how CU is, down to you now transitioning into tech. How was like that whole journey be like, and what's the story there?
Okay, so I graduated from Covenant University. Like it's a Christian university, and
Yeah, yeah.
some people call it glorified secondary school, right? And then there was even just by the side, there was even a set that graduated from CU, and then they had a like a graduation party, and then they termed the party prison break. I don't know why they did that, but so in CU, I did real estate. I did estate management for 5 years. It's an environmental social science course. So coming out from that industry and then after school, in real life, seeing how the industry was, I didn't like how it was that okay, you're working, and you can't really see rewards for how much effort you are putting into in real estate. Except maybe you have your own firm, or you're doing your own freelancing stuff as a real estate
Mm-hmm.
agent. Working, nah. But about tech, how I transitioned into tech. So my younger brother is a software dev, right? And since I graduated from CU, he has been telling me that, oh, TY, how about you try like tech, right? Like software
Yeah.
engineering. I said, I didn't say that, oh, I don't have the grace for it. I don't have the grace for it. It wasn't until this young man landed like a huge gig, like a mind-blowing gig, even as he was in Nigeria, that my eyes, this like the skills from my eyes now dropped. I now began to see, of course, obviously you want to invest your time in something that won't profit you. So I began to see what he was talking about, but still, my younger sister is also a dev. Like all my siblings are devs, right? One of them. He now told me that, oh, sister T, you love drawing. I love drawing. I love arts. Even in school, I did architecture. Yeah, there's a course you take in real estate. It's called
Mm-hmm.
architecture, right? So I can even read
Okay.
drawings. I can read the building drawings. Fun fact, my dad is an architect too. So I can read drawings, right? I
Nice.
can read drawings. So maybe the love from arts from there translated into design. And I said, oh, my sister was telling me about, oh, there's a course called design. So I picked it up from there and gave it my all. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
So
yeah.
what's the motivation for you going to study real estate in the beginning?
I just wanted to follow what my dad wanted me to do. I really have high regard for him, and I just felt, oh, he's my dad. He said do real estate, right? Yeah, you don't plan out, all this Nigerian
Yeah, they're
don't
like,
plan out say, okay, well, my brother will do, yeah, no, yes, my brother will do Aki, let me do real estate, that kind of thing. But you know how life can be, right?
yeah.
What sometimes
Mhm.
is not what you follow. So that was the motivation then for doing real estate. It's not like I actually wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a
Really?
journalist. I wanted to be a journalist. So, yeah.
Well, that's interesting because I've had someone on the podcast before who did real estate management, Victoria, Miss Vic. So Miss Vic in transition also from like doing real estate down to UI UX as well. So like I'm seeing this. I don't know if it's a trend, right? But like people who are like doing real estate, people who are doing engineering, mostly transition into UI UX. Sometimes they move like engineering after school, then they start writing, and after writing, then they now transition into tech. Did you, aside like doing like real estate, reading drawings, did you ever do anything in between, like in between before you started UI UX?
In between, no, not really. I was doing real estate, and then yeah, I was involved in project management. So in terms of I was involved in like working on relocation and renovating buildings.
Yeah.
You get
Oh.
as a project manager. So we have an old building and then we like flip it, try to make it new and everything. So I remember that's when I worked on was converting a residential building into a school building, right? So
Okay.
that's
How
what I
profitable
was.
is that business? Like, if I want to go into it, like, how interesting is it? Is it easy? Is it like an easy part to go into businesses like that?
You just you need the technical guys. So you need an architect, obviously, to change the drawing,
Plan.
right?
Okay.
Change the drawing plan, and then you need artisans, the plumbers, the carpenters, and all of that. And then you need your plan. Is this even visible or viable, right? This project I'm doing in this location, is it visible and viable? So that's what is it's about. But it's actually very profitable though.
Okay. Maybe I'll change careers sooner or later. Start flipping houses. So now, like, how do you manage or how do you prioritize your work in terms of, I'm guessing, as product designers, we often have like jobs and then we have side gigs and we have side projects that, they're just out of fun and curiosity. How do you prioritize each of them?
I prioritize it by knowing what's the most important thing first. So the most important task is my job. Because that's so like my day job that pays me well, and I've invested my time. That's number one. Then any other job or side gig can come after. That's how I do it. So I believe in doing the most important thing first, right? So wherever like a designer is, you have to prioritize what is the most important task right now. As I am, what's the most important task? So is it the task that is bringing in money for me? Is it the task
Yeah.
that I'm working on that is startup that is the most important thing? So
Mm-hmm.
when I prioritize that, I can now take it up. Okay, the most important task is my day job, number one. Any other task follows after. And then I try to balance it to manage all the stakeholders for all the jobs to make sure that I meet up with their deadlines. Because they don't care if you have a side project and then you're delivering your tasks, right? So that's how I approach it.
So, in terms of pay coming in now, do you use that as a metric to prioritize each project, or do you prioritize based on passion? I don't know. If you have two paying jobs, would you use pay to prioritize them, or would you use like passion or interest?
This is a very interesting question because I think it was even last year I was prioritizing passion over pay. I think I almost got kicked out from my paying job because of it. So there was this job I liked, like this design job that I really, really had. I just loved it. I just loved working on the concept. Then there's another one that they're paying me for that I don't really, really like, right? You get, and then I found myself, because my heart is drawn to that project, I find myself investing more time in it and neglecting the other one. So I had to call myself in and say, see, girl. Balance, balance. So I think for me, passion to an extent, and yeah, I think for me, passion. My friend will say passion because she has even my are you hope you're working on the one they're paying you for that kind of thing, right? But as a family person, you have to prioritize the one they're paying you for, right? So
Yeah.
it's just I think you should balance both of them.
So now, speaking of family person, now how's your experience, as a mother and a wife, and how has that influenced like your product design decision making now? You know, I'm just guessing there will be like so many things that you have learned over the years, like getting married, and then learning like having a child at the same time. Has that affected like, or has that in any way had some sort of what I say sort of effect in how you think towards making design decisions?
Hi, before we get back into the pod, this podcast is sponsored by Narruption. Now, Narruption's so aim is informing young Nigerians about politics, startups, tech founders, stories of interesting Nigerian youths like you, and maybe you, maybe you, maybe. However, they have a podcast and they also give out news about stock exchange. Now, I'm very serious about this because Narruption is fun to read. They distill articles that are about stock exchange, market value, interesting political news that's happening for young Nigerians, to young Nigerians, by young Nigerians. And it's fun, check out their podcast and their Instagram handles to find out more information. But like, trust me, honestly, it is fun. Yeah. With that being said, let's get back into the pod.
Of course, he has. Okay, for instance, I was working on a project with a mentor, and it had to do with funny enough, it was kind of related to real estate. And in the team, we're not thinking of the aspect of when a user has a land somewhere that he has not accounted for. We're just thinking about like structures that are already erected
Okay.
I can't to implement in that design decision, but they forgot, oh, what if someone has a land save and they don't even know where it is? That kind of thing. So that aspect came into it. And then um when I'm working on any design project now, I have more empathy. Like, yeah, yes, I have more empathy because as a mother, I'm thinking about a project. Okay, how will other mothers feel about this? How will other fathers, how will other fathers feel about this decision? How does it
Yeah.
affect this type of users? You understand? Or even in terms of culture, or like or culture or tribe, well, how will it affect this type of people, right? So definitely, my life experiences also translates in my design decisions.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, because I'm unmarried. I don't have a child, so I'm still a young bachelor, still like chilling now. However, there was a time where I used to stay with my mom, or then I left school, and then now I stay alone. So I'm like, transition during those process. When I started designing when I was in school, so I'm like, okay. When I was designing in school, I had just I didn't think everything through. It was more of what thing they do, just join this one, push it out, join this one, push it out. I think it was because I was always around my friends. We didn't think anything through. Like I was crazy. There was a time where I could do anything. I could just play outside. Like even at like university, I could play outside, run around with my guys. Like we didn't think anything through. So I was just doing join this, put it out, join, put it out. But now that I live alone, I did think times two of everything through. Like you calculate, okay, how much do I spend here? How much do I move here? And now using that as like a metric, I'm also thinking towards, okay, as I'm designing this product, how about somebody wants to do this thing here? How do you want to do that? Like, there's this product that I'm working with someone, Tife. Now the product is like I burn food a lot. I they always burn food every time. So whenever I want to cook food on fire, the app is to just remind me or like preset. Okay, it's rice I want to boil. Set minutes, set time. That's what it basically does. When I designed
Mm.
the MVP, I looked at it. I was like, okay, this makes sense. Then I was looking at it again. I'm like, what if as I'm presetting this thing, or like this oil on my hand, the buttons are too
Mm.
small. So I need to like, increase the buttons because the oil on my hand already. I'm already cooking. What if I'm in the middle of cooking and I remember the app? Right, okay, I need to go back. I started paying more attention to like smaller things. Yeah. So that's where that question is coming from. And like, in terms of personal principles, as you said, you are now more empathic, right? Do you have like those personal principles for you that is like a no-go area that you attach towards like design, towards like having like normal activities around you, like 3 of them?
Okay, some principles I have, more like core values I have for when I'm approaching
Yeah.
any design parts. I try to have integrity, like integrity for my work. Like you hear cases of young designers coming up to, maybe they go for an interview and then they take up some like a senior designer's work and start and they present it at an interview, right?
Yeah.
So that's what integrity, like stand true for your work, like be truthful to yourself. Where like know the level you're in currently, like what
Yeah.
level am I here now? Like for me, when I started in design, I looked at myself, I said, Tony, you don't know anything. Humble yourself and learn from people that know. You understand? So integrity, humility for me, and then attention to details, because design, attention to details, because I was asking myself a question. I was like, if God Almighty created us and he didn't pay attention to the distance between our eyes and our nose, and the distance between our nose and our mouths, and he just join everything, I can imagine how humans will look like. Maybe our legs will be on top of our head and our head. So just imagine, right? So that's the beauty of design. Those little attention to details matter for me. I'm like, if we are created so much well that even the minute details of how our eyebrows look and how our eyes look and how our internal organs are, you get
Yeah,
the
okay.
structure, everything, more design. So I would say my core, the kind of values I have integrity for your work. You don't want to present something that is not your own, and then you now get into job and then you can't sustain it. Be very truthful, right? Be humble. Like if you know where you are and know where you want to get to, and then know the people you have to meet to get there, and be humble and just even learn from a young baby. You can learn things from anybody. Just humble yourself and learn. And then attention to details. That attention to details thing, even one of my mentors is really working on me on that right now. Like doing, don't have decimals. Stop having decimals. Round it up. Cringe. Always cringe. So those are some of. I hope I was able to answer that question, though.
Yeah, that makes sense. Being like having integrity for your work, those are really interesting core values that I think everybody should even have aside, and also being humble, as you mentioned, like being humble and like being able to like learn from everybody. So like those things really make sense. Because I also have there was a time I was working on a project and I had the same experience where the CEO always tell me, David, you know how to design, and that's not the problem. Is you lack the sense of it. I mean, what do you mean by I lack sense of design? Guy, I've been designing for 2 years. I've designed multiple products. You can't be telling me I lack the sense. And now explain to me that the attention to details, the smallest things, the fact that I'm using the line height is two differently. So the line height for the big header one is different from the 1B and it's different from the third one. I'm like, they are all looking alike, but they are different. And that's the sense of it. Like all those little things. And that makes a lot of sense. Even you attach that to like normal life when you live. Like now the question is allowing me to think again. I'm like, how do you incorporate your beliefs? You are a Christian. I'm aware of that. Are there times where your career path or decisions you have to make in your career path counterfeits your beliefs as a Christian?
Was there a time? Like I said, integrity, right? I think was there a time? Yes. Let me give you an instance. I think this
Yeah.
relates to it, right? I think there was a time that I was interviewing for a foreign company. I really wanted that job, right? And then I didn't have much on my portfolio. That was like last 2 years, Abby. I didn't have much on my portfolio. So someone gave me one of my mentors now said, "Oh, take this thing, use it. You can show them, no problem. Like, no problem. I wasn't easy in my spirits. I was like, no, Toyin, just, just, you know what? I had to talk to myself. I said, Toyin, for the fact that you don't even have this thing means that you need to work on yourself,
Yeah.
girl. So I said, no, don't worry. And then I was honest during the interview. I said, this is it, blah, blah, blah. This is what I have, get. And they didn't accept me, fine. But at least within myself and my conscience, and then knowing, Holy Spirit, like my relationship with the Holy Spirit, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm fine, right? So what did I do? I sat down and then I told myself that, see, the next time you're going for any interview, have something tangible to show. Work on yourself. Don't come and carry your mentor's work and come and be show. And then you notice that most of I call them gatekeepers or big guys in design right now.
Yeah.
They don't even put their portfolio out because of what people have been doing. They've been hiding it. They just show it in closed interviews, like closed interviews. They don't put it out there again because of this kind of things, like you get that we hear and all of that. So I just made up my mind that. So I think that's when my faith comes in, my conscience. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't come and show someone's work as my own and then claim that it's my own and deceive myself. Meanwhile, I'm not there yet, and I'm not there yet, and then I'm deceiving myself, showing that I'm there. Nah, that's not that we don't roll like that.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I say it can start a dominoes effect of doing the same thing. Like if you do it the first time where you use someone else's work, even if they allow you,
Yeah.
exactly. Next time again, you be like, make I just call another person work run am. No worry. Sure, I can do the work you do. Hey, I will run am again. Yeah.
Figure.
That's it takes.
And then this same issue, the design agency I was working for, oh God bless their heart, I really learned a lot. I think working in design agencies really make you learn a lot because you get to work on different clients' brief.
All the
So
time.
all the time. So the CEO was telling me, the CTO was telling me that that's how he was interviewing somebody for his company as a lead designer, and then the person was explaining his own work. Like he was just saying, interesting. So at the end of the interview, that's it. So whose work? Do you know the person's work he presented? Like he asked him. That's why the guy just left the meeting and didn't come back. Like he just left. Like he asked him some questions. I think asked him some questions about the work, and then he just logged off. And that was how he ran away. So why put
Because he
yourself in that?
knew
Yeah,
inside
now.
him, his conscience don't judge him.
So why do that? Like
Yeah, that's
just
terrible.
just be honest. Don't buga when you know you still need to learn. Just calm down and
I say, why does that even happen? Like, God, it's terrible, sha. So like for working now, it's good that you mentioned this because I had this question here. But like working within agencies now. So now, how does like your experience and your perspective of people from diverse, backgrounds, how do they influence your design process?
it's important because design is about collaborating and working with a cross-functional team, right? So for one company, they can value design. Like there was a company I worked for, they didn't care about your research at all. Just do this number of screens or go and move, that kind of thing. And then you reach out to them. Like at that point, it affected my design decision because this is what the company wanted. And I know that by the book, this is the right thing to do. And then I advised them, I said, this is how it's meant to be done, Sha. But if this is what you want, no problem. And today they've not even launched. I guess because they've seen some things. Do you understand? Because let's research. You're working on something. Okay, find out from the people you are working on.
Find out who you are building for.
Just find out. You're just they build. You get, and
Yeah.
so that really affected my design decision. I don't even like working for companies like that. But in another company, like company X, where they really care about your research, want to know what's in the mind of our users before we take XYZ decision, right? So definitely. And then I think also because some people don't just understand what design about. I think also just explaining, and like they said, some people call themselves divine design advocates, right? So telling them that okay, this is what I'm here for. These are people I'm defending. I'm defending the users, and this is how it will affect. I think it's also like affects my design process, because if you are now the same, like okay, like for instance now, any design decision I'm taking right now in the company I'm working for, I have to tell the product manager or the tech lead how it will affect maybe the developers and everything. So we'll be on the same page, right?
Yeah.
If they say do it this way, take it this way, then we'll follow their way, but we'll just come to a like an agreement and a playing ground as to how to move the company forward. So yeah, it all depends on the company and if they are willing to follow the design process.
Do you find out, do you think it's different like for Nigerian companies and like foreign companies, or is it based on like the people who are within the company? Where does that change come in?
In our Nigerian ecosystem, so many startup owners, some of them don't know the value of design, right? So they just feel it's just churning out screens. So I think it's a cultural thing, a country thing, because some parts of the world they value design, they value research, right? Then some other parts of the world they don't even know what it's about. So they feel do
Nigeria
it
is the part where they don't know.
not all parts. Some you, my guy, you've worked with people and you've worked with people, so you know how this thing
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, yeah.
They don't really, they just want to see their screens.
So in hierarchy, who do you feel like are the people designers to reach out to? So let's say I'm thinking about hierarchy of like work environments now. I spoke with Cynthia Caxton in the previous episode. So for people listening, you can go listen to that episode. The episode was about teaching and learning design at the same time. And she mentioned something about like standard company. Now bringing this here again, like what do you define as a standard company structure? And how do you think a designer should report and who should they report to? Like, I'm just taking that from your experience of working with like multiple teams.
A standard is like a standard company has structure. First of all, they have
Okay.
structure. It's hierarchy. There are due procedures to follow. A standard company has a tech team that consists of product managers, engineers, data analysts, even designers, right? So it's not just the design team. You're not just making decisions in isolation. You're actually making a decision and considering everyone in your team, right? Doing a task and considering how it affects the other team. You understand? How will this affect this? How will putting this button affect the other team? You get how we put this, when we place this button now, how will it affect how users will come on board? Will he convert more or will he reduce conversion rate? So that's like a structured company to me. They consider everything. But a company that is not structured, they don't even care about the users. They just want to bring out a product in hopes. They are hoping in hopes that it will work. Go work. Waiting you think it go work. Make we run that kind. Yeah. But standard company, they go by they care about the design process. We mustn't follow all the entire design process, but at least a little research, find out, ask questions,
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
survey. But they don't care. I mean, give me this amount of screens within this amount of time. That is all I care about. And
Yeah, I think that's bad. That's bad for our environment as Nigerians, like as people who like create product. But there are few startups that the engineers and like the managers, the CEOs care about like the process of the whole design thing. But they're like, if you count them, if you say, this company, that company, maybe some few fintech companies, I don't want to call one because they are my favorite fintech, but they did one UI change. The UI is annoying. I can't buy data. I don't know what to buy. I think it's annoying me. I need to be my favorite app. So, and they have good people, they have resources, but now they're like, yeah. So that's just by the way, Sha. That's just by the way. What's the most interesting thing about your job, your current job?
right now, interesting thing about this job I'm currently doing is this. I like the structure. I like
Is
that
it
they
a
are
Nigerian
very
company?
no.
Okay, go on.
And then the other company I'm working for, um, what I really like is relationships. I feel relationships are very, 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 very important. Even more than the tax you're going to do it, to me, even more than the money they're going to pay you. I feel relationships are very important because I feel relationships will open a lot of doors, and relationships will tell you what you are doing wrong and tell you what you are not doing, what you are doing right. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like the other designer I'm working with right now, because of the relationship we've had, he's able to point out to me, Toyin, you need to work on this area. Toyin, you need to work on this area. But if maybe I didn't have a smooth sailing relationship with him, he would just be doing his own tax. I mean, so I would just be doing my own tax in my ignorance. Yeah, thinking I'm doing the right thing. You get.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most interesting thing, able to form new relationships when you get to a new place and able to sustain those relationships, because in the future, you don't know where it will help, right? So I feel relationships are very, 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 very important.
Okay. So I'm hearing that the most interesting things are like the relationship that you have with the people you work with, and like the structure of the company. That one makes your job more interesting. So what about things like the kind of tools you guys use, the amount of money? It doesn't have make job interesting. Like, I mean, if I'm getting paid 20 USD a month, will my job not be interesting?
Of course, the money interesting, but you know how the tech industry is, right? you can't put all your life. I don't know. You can't. Okay. So you see the layoffs that happened. Imagine someone that was and that kind of thing happened, and the interview process to get into Google is not here. It's out of this world. Then you just wake up one day, God forbid, and you just see. So at that point, what was the most important thing? Is it the money you were earning or the people you met?
It has to be the people, because the people then can connect you with other opportunities. Because
So for me, what I try to do as I work in any company, because I have a very close person that was working for 2 US companies here in Nigeria as a dev, and then the same month he lost the 2 because of the global economical something. You get. So at that point, what was the most important thing for him? The most important thing for him was his family that was able to comfort him at that point and just calm his mind down. And then the relationship he has formed in the past that he could draw from, look within my network to draw from and get more jobs. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel you.
For me, I always sustain my relationship with anybody I'm having. I value my relationships. I value people, whoever you are. I value the relationships, because you never know. Just one word from somebody can help you to get more opportunities. So I feel okay in a situation where maybe you're working in a company now and they say, sorry, we can't pay you this amount again. So now, because if someone was so fixed on the money, you want to leave now. But if you really value the relationship, you'll be like, you try to understand with them, and then you look for how to stay within a particular period and say, oh, let me even do this for this this person. Why? Because you value the relationship more than the money. That's like that's how I see life. And I've seen it even in my husband's life. I've seen how relationship has even helped our family sometimes. Just knowing, just being a friend with a particular person, and then having someone there that is like a support system, just because you were there for them at the point where they needed to.
This is just a funny quote, as you just mentioned, the support system for someone. It's like even people where they support you where you didn't down, like investments that you do. So that's very yeah. So like, can you share like a time where you had like to take a risk or make a difficult decision in your career, and like how did that experience like shape you and like your approach?
Okay, so there was a time that I don't know whether to say this. I'm just thinking. There was a time I was in a very difficult situation that I had to choose between the company or myself. And at that point, I chose myself because I just felt I wasn't being valued, but not just choosing myself, but also learning from that experience and drawing. Okay, apart from this, what did I do? What did I do wrong that even made me to be in this situation right now, right? So when I was just starting out, there was a company I worked for, and I didn't communicate well at all. I was just focused on the technical aspect. So we'll be having meetings and I won't say anything. I'll
Oh,
just be quiet. But when it's time to deliver, I'll try to do my tasks, right? And if I meet any blocker, I won't say anything until it's time for the meeting. So I think that shaped me and it made me better because I now got to understand that design is beyond just knowing the technical aspects. You have to also know how to you have to know emotional intelligence. You have to know how to manage your stakeholder management. You can't just be
yeah.
on your own little niche saying that you're working on technical aspect. Carry everybody along. Let them even have a feel of you and know that and understand how your design is affecting the other parts they're working on. You get. So I think that was what I could draw from that experience. Yeah, that's what I could draw from that experience.
That makes sense. Like when you say choosing you, what do you mean by choosing you? Is it go
But
on?
my mental health at that
Okay.
point, because I'm working, and you're not seeing, you're not seeing, like, maybe because we're working remotely, maybe because we're not in an office, you're not seeing how hard I'm trying to do my tasks and please you, and then at the end of the day, you still want to do what you want to do. So at that point, I said, "Hasta la vista, baby. I'm out of here." My mental health matters. My mental health matters. I think.
From people that have worked with across teams, what are like characteristics that you've been able to see that other people have that you want to have or like you're working towards having?
Communication. There's someone I admire. I like how he communicates. He knows how to handle everybody. Even the CEO, the way he talks with confidence, I like it. I like how he presents his tasks. I like how he interviews the users. I like how he's organized, like he has a plan for them already before they come on board. I think one thing I like to pick is communication, and to improve my user research skills. Like sometimes when I meet some amazing creative designers, I'm like, how did you even think of this? Like, how are you able to research and handle this problem from this angle? Right. I'm just constantly upskilling myself every day, learning something new every day. Because because if you don't learn, you're just there. It's as if you're not living, but learning something new every day, every single day. I think that's something I like to pick from the people I've worked with.
That's cool. Whew. So like, have you written a book before?
I hope I'm not talking too much.
No. It's not about talking too much. Like, no, when somebody asks you if you have written a book before, it's more like you're giving so much value, should be in a book, that kind of thing. That's why I'm like,
Oh, like, oh, you're talking too much. Just write a book.
nah. I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy hearing like the elongated versions of the gist and the story. Like, it makes sense because that's when you get to like pick out, oh, this is how this thing like is actually affecting other aspects of like our lives and other aspects of our things. Yeah. So speaking of that, other aspects of your life, what are they like? Like aside design, taking care of your family, what do you do aside, just that?
Okay, so fun fact, I sing soprano in the choir, so I go for choir rehearsals. I outside of work, I like to go for long walks. It clears my head. It clears my head. Clears my head. I'll just as creative, sometimes maybe you have a deadline and then nothing is just coming out.
Yeah, nothing
It's
they
just,
work. You think no just one on, nothing they
just not it is that's a light bulb that you see in cartoons. You never come, like it never comes. So you just go for a long walk and just sometimes I go as I'm going to the long walk, I'm just praying like, God help me with this task. And then I come back rejuvenated. Or it can just be sometimes it can be just for those blockers, sometimes it can be talking to my mom. My mom will just tell me one word and then I can just search it and then ideas just be coming.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Outside of work, right? I like to watch K dramas a lot. Don't mind me. And I love watching K dramas and animes, funny ones, the ones that make me laugh. I like comedy. I laugh a lot, and I like to gist with my husband. married people like to gossip a lot, right? They gossip. Married people
I'm a
gossip.
boss.
I'm a boy. Yeah, I'm a boy partner with gist, and yeah, and then I love playing with my son. When I look into my son's eyes, sometimes it gives me strength. When I carry him and I look into,
When I look into your eyes, all I see is your face.
there's this strength when you have a child and then you're like, okay, let me keep going. Let me keep going.
Yeah.
There's a time in my design journey that I just wanted to just leave. I'm like, guy, because as designers, I think we should really protect our mental health. I think we should just go out sometimes, see nature, see how beautiful the sun is, the trees are, and just take in nature. Don't just stay in one place.
And
And just
play game and watch TV and play game and watch TV.
sometimes there's one day literally there was a whole week I didn't come out. I didn't come out. Then the day I just came out, I was like, wow, nature is actually very beautiful. So yeah, that's like the outside work, Joe.
What's your favorite food to cook? Aside spag, spag is your favorite food to eat. Is it the same
Jollof
thing to cook?
Nigerian jollof rice.
You enjoy cooking jollof rice?
I'm just good at it. So you know when you've mastered something, just default. Pam, pam, pam.
Like muscle memory.
If I'm going to a terrain I've not really been doing, I have to now open YouTube and start watching. I'll go to see. I mean, please, how do you make this soup? I'll now start and doing. That's how. But the jollof rice, I beg me and jollof rice by 5 and 6. I make it well. So to me.
That makes sense. Me, you know this thing that used to come inside packets. They used to call it noodles, Indomie noodles. Exactly.
Present it like that. Okay.
So Indomie noodles, it's one of my favorite things to cook. I also started this thing like where I cook one traditional food every weekend. So I've been doing it. Is actually interesting because it allows me.
That just came. I'll
Yeah,
bring that down.
yeah, you should like as I said, as a bachelor, like single, sitting down, staying alone most of the time. I eat the same thing: rice, beans, sometimes beans, but mostly rice, spag, indomie, rice, spag, indomie. If I'm going to buy food, rice, spag, indomie. So I'm like, why don't I cook something unique? And every weekend, I just go to the market. Sometimes I call my grandma and ask her, how do I prepare? So my grandma, like my CCME, she will just tell me, okay, you go and buy kanwa, then you buy uzuza, then you buy oporoko, all those things.
My auntie, she was trying to cook crab, but she's in US, so she God, that was a long time ago. She now called my mom that please, this crab is moving. How will I kill it? Mom just said, okay, just throw it into the hot water. Throw it into the hot water. Sorry. Very funny, actually. Sorry.
I've seen situations like that where I was cooking, right? And I didn't know the next step. So I think it was the first time or second time I was preparing ogbono soup. So my grandma has told me I should buy upehi. So and now that's the upehi that costs wahala. So I boiled the fish, I have the ogbono, the ogbono is grinded, I put red oil inside. So I'm like, I've mixed it.
I'm like, what do I do with this now? I'm like putting myself in a situation.
Exactly. Like so now everything done day. And I'm like, okay, where does this upehi come in? Before the fish, after the fish, when I'm adding the vegetable, like I didn't know where to put it. I was like, hello, mama. And she didn't pick it. She was like, hello, my fish is about to burn. Oh. Where should I put the upehi? And she's like, what have you done? I didn't know anything. So that whole situation was just messy. But thank God the food did not spoil. I ate it, it was nice. So that's just by the way, Sha. Also my last question for you now, too. Your personal most encouraging phrases or statements that keeps you calm, gets you excited, and keeps you going.
It won't be like this forever.
It won't be like this forever.
Yeah, it can only get better. So keep moving. If you don't keep moving, you won't know. I don't know. Sometimes that's what comes in my head. I like just keep pushing. You can do it. Just keep doing. Just keep pushing. And then there's a scripture I have that encourages me. It says he will never leave me or forsake me. So I'm not alone. There's a force behind me that is helping me. The Holy Spirit is helping me. And then I can do all things through Christ who has given me strength. So I have strength. I've been given the strength so I can do this thing. I've been given the strength so I can do it, to believe in yourself. So yeah, I guess.
So, just a tangent, at least, is in terms of I'm looking for a job now, so I'm asking this question to all my guests. In terms of job search, what channels do you use for like searching jobs and like finding all these different like opportunities?
So for me, I usually, the platforms I use are LinkedIn, and then I tell people when I dey look job, not to just humble yourself. They ask, say, guy, get job. I use LinkedIn. So I had this session with my mentor. God bless her heart. She has been a destiny helper to me. And then she told me that, Toyin, optimize your LinkedIn. I optimized my LinkedIn. I try to be very active on LinkedIn, right? So when I optimized my LinkedIn, I noticed that recruiters from foreign nations even started reaching out to me when I worked on myself and optimized. So I was shocked. I was like, so I've entered this realm now that where I'll be hearing recruiters reach out to me, recruiters reach out to me. I'll think it's vibe. It's true. Oh. That kind of thing, like, it's true. So it's actually true. So I would say LinkedIn, and then ask people. I'll reach out to people, like, if I want to connect with, if I see a job post, I usually connect with the job poster, and I have a format, like, I write to them. I will study them, understudy them, and then I will now like craft out the message to suit
Them.
what I like about them and what I like about them, and then I'll now put my case forward. Like, okay, this is, and that's how I connect to other. If I see any designer I love, like I admire, I used to reach out to. I'll be like, guy, I've seen your work. You need creativity. Let's connect with you. And then one thing leads to another. A relationship can start, and I have this project I'm working on. How about you take it?
That's cool. I do a little bit of like drafting code emails myself, where like I reach out, I search their papa, search their wife, their children, read all
Good
their
deed.
read all their tweets, and then use that to like craft emails. What do you mean by this? When you say optimizing LinkedIn, I've been hearing that a lot. I'm going to just this is just by the way for people listening. I'm going to get someone on the pod. Like next month is about job hunting because I'm looking for work. So most of the guests is going to be about job hunting. So I'm going to get someone on the pod that will talk extensively about optimizing LinkedIn. But for now, like when you say optimizing LinkedIn, what did you do? Like what? Let's say give me 3 or 4 specific things that you did that was like optimizing your LinkedIn.
This is a very serious matter, so let me adjust my camera and answer. I
Okay.
optimized my LinkedIn first of all by working on my profile picture, because people want to know that they are talking to a human being and that they are not a robot. So I got a good profile picture. I optimized my LinkedIn number 2 by working on my banner. That space,
Yeah,
that long width, I worked on my banner to show that I'm a designer. What do? I kept it up there. I optimized my LinkedIn. There's this.
Hi, before we get back into the pod, this podcast is sponsored by Narruption. Now, Narruption so for me young Nigerians about politics, startups, tech founders, stories of interesting Nigerian youths like you, maybe you, maybe you, maybe. However, they have a podcast and they also give out news about stock exchange. Now, I'm very serious about this because Narruption is fun to read. They distill articles that are about stock exchange, market value, interesting political news that's happening for young Nigerians, to young Nigerians, by young Nigerians. And it's fun, check out their podcast and their Instagram handles to find out more information. But like, trust me, honestly, it is fun. Yeah. With that being said, let's get back into the pod.
Tool I use, Career Flow, is by Nikita Gupta. She's careerflow.oi. So it will get, when you use that tool, it will show you what you're currently scoring now over 100 in LinkedIn. So if you are below a particular mark, let's say you are below 50, you already know that your LinkedIn is not on point. But when you've reached like 70 and above, it will tell you that your LinkedIn is on point, and then it will now point out to you areas you need to work on. And then there's other things I did. I can even share the book I read that is by Rosie. Her name is Rosie. What she wrote on LinkedIn is Rosie Bada. So she's a career coach, and she's very good. So there's this little book on LinkedIn optimization I read. And when I followed those steps, it helped. So I'll share it with you after this call. I'll share it very well. If you follow those steps, oh my God, see, they work like fire. They work like magic. They reach
God, I beg. God, I beg.
They'll reach you. So those are the little steps I took, and then I started posting. I noticed though that if you position yourself as a giver, that's you're trying to help the design community. I noticed that it helps and it sets you apart, just like what you're doing now with the podcast.
Yeah.
If any brand is looking for someone that's been doing podcasts, they won't reach out to me. They'll come to you first because you are doing podcasts and you are doing YouTube videos. So I think that thing really actually helps when you are trying to help the design community and impact without expecting anything. It's as if the universe will just come and move to your side because they are trying to actually make. Actually, I feel it works because you're actually trying to contribute and add value to the design community. It's just a matter of time. I'm sure that by this week someone will reach out to you because you're doing a good job.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, that's helpful. Please, you share me those resources. Is the books, any of these things paid? Like the book, is it paid?
All free.
Oh, nice.
That's
okay.
I'll send it to you because it's so good. I'm asking myself that why is it not paid? It's so good. Before they close gates, begin collect money.
I will send that from you. When they don't start to collect money, I don't get money give them yet. So that's cool. So by the way, that comes to the end for me. I could go on. I always have questions. Yeah. By the way, I love your nails. They look good. So yeah. All my guests get a thank you message from me, and it's basically me giving them a merch. So you would also be collecting a merch. I think it's one of these or the black one, but not just design merch. I'm going to be printing a lot. Yeah, thank you. Now I'm going to be printing a lot this month, so I'll just use that and I'll send it.
Please, thank you so much for coming on board this podcast. You can comment, share, like, subscribe to not just design. It's not just design. So we're going to be having a lot of interesting videos coming up, a lot of guest speakers. So you don't want to miss out. Sign and get notified of our new